Hello and welcome to the latest of this Business Spotlight interview series. I'm delighted today to be joined by Gareth McKeever from Pure Lakes, a skincare manufacturing company based in Ambleside in the heart of the Lake District. Hi Gareth, how are you today?
Hi Rob, yeah, very very well, thank you.
Good, good.
Thanks for inviting me on.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Looking forward to hearing about yourself and the story of the company that you're now owning. So, with that in mind, could you give us a bit of background on exactly that, the story to date with with Pure Lake, with Pure Lakes, yeah.
Yes, certainly. So I'm married to Claire. We're living in London. We're customers of Pure Lakes. We have our first child in 2011, and think let's move back up to the Lake District. We love the product, love the business, and the owners were looking to retire, and we bought it from them, taking ownership in 2016. So we've been doing
Right.
this now, come up to 8 years, and we work together. And our manufacturing facility or workshop is in the village of Farsori, which is sort of on the side of Windermere, opposite Bowness, if anyone knows the geography. So it's on a quiet side of Windermere, and it is the village where Beatrix Potter lived when she was alive.
Right, okay.
It's a really beautiful Lake
Yeah,
District village.
yeah, no, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. So it's a fabulous part of the world. Really, really pretty. Yeah, lovely place to be based. I can see why you moved back or moved from London
Yeah.
into the lakes. So, what was the? Did you have a background, anything similar before you bought the business? Or
No, not really. I mean, I was in finance, financial sales, and
right,
Claire, my wife, was an actress, a
okay,
salsa dance teacher. So we with no experience at all with manufacturing, full stop, let alone specifically skincare. So no, it's all been it still is sort of learning, very steep learning curve for us, Rob.
wow.
Uh,
So what was it? So it was just the pure love of the brand that made you decide to take on that, take on that huge risk, I suppose, at that time, if with no real background in that industry.
yeah, well, we wanted to do something ourselves, and a lot of people advised us that buying a business was a more sensible approach than starting it, if that was a possibility. So
Mm.
that made us think about which businesses we might buy, and we just loved the product and have done. We were customers in London. We ordered it online, had it sent down,
Mm.
and really loved the products that Pure Lakes made. I knew the owners tangentially. I knew that they were sort of at that point where they might want to step back a bit, and we just got in touch with them, and they said, "Yeah, actually, it's a coincidence that you have got in touch because we've had a granddaughter recently, and we want to see her more, and
Right.
et cetera, et cetera." So yeah, it all sort of aligned. We didn't buy it straight away. They weren't quite ready. We weren't quite ready. So we just took a couple of years
Mm.
and bought it, and moved up and owned it outright in, as I say, 2016.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. So, and what's that journey been like then from the day when you took full ownership of the business?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I mean, we've really enjoyed every bit of it. The I think doing something together. It's been a great privilege. Not everyone gets to do that with their life partner, and we're really enjoying that aspect. And it's amazing to be able to create employment,
Mm.
um, and to do something that we're passionate about. So no, it's overall it's been fantastic. Um, I'm sure we'll get onto the challenges, etc. So there's been
Yeah.
lots of those. It's been, but big picture, headline, big thumbs up from us. We love what we do, and we're really glad that we've done it.
Fantastic. It's great to hear. Great to hear that you took that, took that risk and it's paying off for you, as we stand today. So that's great news. So you talked about that. So in terms of challenges, what have been maybe the challenges that you've faced and you've overcome? Maybe to start with, what would you say your biggest
Yeah,
challenge?
I mean, myriad really. There's so many, and every day, these small challenges and sometimes big ones kind of
Mm.
hit us. So we bought the business at the time. It was renting a small space near Kendal,
Right.
but we got out of that quite quickly, and then made plans to build our own a dedicated workshop, which we've now done.
Wow.
That's the sort of most recent challenge. That's been a huge challenge because we've gone from a very, very small space to, a huge space in relatively, so 6 times the size.
Right.
But with that has come obviously lots of positives, but also, operating costs have gone up
Sure.
by multiples. And things like business rates, all utility bills, and go on and on, insurance, they've all gone up by multiples, and that's been really challenging because, of course, we moved 9, 10 months ago, but the business didn't
Right.
grow by multiples that quickly. It has to grow into the space. So that's an ongoing challenge that we're working hard to try and get on top of. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. One is to grow,
Mm.
but because we manufacture, we can't just sort of, even if we had a huge sort of long list of new customers,
Mm.
it's all made by hand. We've got a fantastic team. They're not miracle workers. They can't kind of, and they're very efficient. So they can't make 6 times as much, say, overnight. So we need to recruit, train up, grow. It takes time.
Mm.
Um, but that's one way of doing it, is to grow the top line,
Yeah.
profitable way. And then the other way, of course, is to try and get on top of margin.
Mm.
And you can do that by taking some pricing, which we have to do because all our raw materials have gone up. So that would have happened anyway. I don't think we can do it any more than that. But we can do it by kind of buying better and thinking about our portfolio and where our profit centers are. And that's not easy because there's products that you really like and enjoy making, but they're not necessarily profitable. So you've got to kind of really, it's a sort of crudely a kind of, it's invest in your winners and cut your losers,
Yes.
which you've got to be a bit ruthless about. So we're doing all of that as we speak to try and get on top of the higher costs that come with operating in this new building.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And so when you decide to make the decision to move into the bigger premises, was there a vision behind that in terms of where you want it to be in, say, 5 or 10 years time, and that one of the drivers making that move?
Yeah, I mean, we're really driven by, I suppose, people, and we're very privileged to have, as I said before, a fantastic team, and we're really grateful for them. They're our most important asset, and without them, this business wouldn't be here.
Right.
We're obviously grateful to our customers. The same is said for them. They make it possible. And our suppliers. We've got some really good suppliers. So people's a big part of how we think about life. But the village that we've moved to and built the workshop in is, as I said earlier, a beautiful village. It gets a lot of tourism, which is great, but it also has a lot of second homes, a lot of holiday lets,
Yeah.
and the number of people that can afford to live here and work here has gone down dramatically over the last 20 years. And by moving the business here, which is very counterintuitive because usually it starts somewhere like this and then move across to somewhere with better connectivity.
Mm.
We had connectivity, roads, railways. We've moved from outside Kendal, as I said, to Farsori. But by doing that, we're creating well-paid jobs.
Mm.
So the big rationale, big part of the rationale behind the move has been to try and do something within the local economy that's impactful. Our
Mm.
children are at the local village school. The numbers go down every year. At some
Yeah.
point, that will close if we don't manage to turn that around.
Yeah.
Got an amazing head teacher, but she can't fight lack of affordable housing, for example. We
Sure.
lost a chemist. Sorry, not a chemist. Our post office closed last year.
Right.
And the doctor's surgery has been under threat a couple of times in recent years, and we're clinging on to it. So it's a real challenge locally for the community, and we want to try and do something positive within that. So that was a huge part of why we moved.
Sure. Okay. That's yeah. Like you say, the challenges in that part of the world, exactly what you say. You talk to other businesses, and it has an impact on all parts of the economy, doesn't it? When second homes take over from people living in, and living day to day in the community. So yeah, that's a really valid and interesting way of thinking about how you can put back into the community as well. So yeah, we have some really nice points there. So you talk about your team. How big is the team?
There are 15 of us in
Oh,
total, and Claire and I.
okay.
It's relatively small. Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of qualities do you look for in the team? When you're bringing people into the business, what are the kind of qualities you look for when recruiting?
We've been really fortunate that a lot of people come to us and want to work with us, which is great. So we've never really advertised. So we've got an interview with somebody tomorrow, for example, who was sort of introduced to us by a friend. And I suppose what we're really looking for is, the things that I think you look for in people generally. Integrity is a big one. Honesty and sense of humor and passion, enthusiasm, excitement for life and to be here.
Cool.
So yeah, that's really it. Yeah.
So values over skills at the end of the day is important from, I guess, in certain elements of the roles that you create, that you can train the skill, but it's the values of the person are more important than as a priority, I guess, in most businesses. And interesting you say that you don't need to, obviously people recommend, so obviously you clearly providing really positive productive work environment. What kind of things do you do to instill that in your business?
Well, it's a real privilege to have your own business, and I've worked for people before, and I think the sort of generic things that we all moan about, at work, in the workplace, I certainly would have done. To my shame, years gone by, complained about X, Y, and Z. It's just human nature. But now I'm here, I can actually do something about all those things. And yeah, so we just want to support people. We had last year somebody got very sick, sadly died. She passed away, and her husband works for us as well. They both work. She worked for us. He does work for us. We paid her full pay throughout her illness, which was maybe 6 months.
Right.
And he had unlimited compassionate leave before and after she passed, and the so things like that we have an employee handbook and we have policies. So kind of we've got a set of things that we can do. You've got to be fair, and same thing for everyone.
Cool.
And within that we have minimum 4 weeks paid holiday, 2 weeks full pay if you're sick.
Right.
So if you've got a head cold, I don't think people should be feeling under pressure to come to work. They should be taking time off to get better and also not passing on to everyone else. If you've got any sort of illness, you need a bit of time. And we felt that when we were putting together this handbook, that 2 weeks, which you could take a couple of days here and a couple of days there and a few days there, would be enough for people ordinarily through the year.
Sure.
And then if someone was more seriously ill, sadly that did happen, we would kind of deal with it ad hoc. So paid holiday, paid sick pay, mileage for people that live farther away to come to this workshop, time in the car, as well, paying them for that. So we try to just really support them as much as we can. But we're a very small business, and a lot of the support is flexibility and non-financial. It's sort of letting people work from home if they can, and if it suits them to, and just really treating them with respect, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. when you've got that opportunity to put into practice things that you've seen, when you've worked for other businesses and seen how people are treated, and you can understand. It's the smaller things, isn't it? It's those small things that make the big difference with a lot of people. Just making sure that you are an employer that does show compassion in situations that you mentioned there, which obviously that if someone's working got that situation at home and they're not having to worry so much about the work element of it, it just makes a big difference in terms of showing the support that you can give someone in those circumstances, which clearly you do.
It's not easy. I mean, it wasn't easy financially, and it's not easy because this person worked for us. Well, it's not easy because you treat everyone the same. You've got to be consistent. But this person worked for us on a flexible basis because she's two boys and wanted to work more hours during the term time and fewer during the holidays. And that allowed us the flexibility to kind of pay her fully for those 6 months. If she'd been salaried, we wouldn't have been able to do that without changing the employee handbook and making it not too full pay, but etc. But because we were able to do it, we did do it. So it's we got to be legal. Obviously, there's certain things you have to do, but there's things that you don't have to do that we want to do anyway.
No, definitely. No, and the people do appreciate that for sure. So, so looking ahead into for the future of the business, what does that look like, and what do you feel are going to be the challenge? Maybe you've touched them already, but what are the challenges you feel you're going to be facing over the next few years?
Well, we're not making sort of income from it that we ought to be making. That's largely because of this new facility that we've built and the costs involved. So it's taken us time to navigate that. So that's our big challenge as we speak right now. That we're working really hard to address. Because if you have your own business, you've got to you're taking a big risk, putting a lot of your own savings and investment into it. And you need to be rewarded for that. And at the moment, we're not being. So we really need to be. And we're working hard to try and turn that around. And we know we can. It just takes time. And it's like building this workshop that we've recently moved into is kind of analogous with buying a business from scratch and the first big investment. You do it, and you've got to give it time to work. So I suppose we one of the things that makes what we do very, very distinct is that we are manufacturing. A lot of skincare companies don't manufacture; they have the products made by someone else, and then they sell them under their brand. In fact, I would say most don't, whereas we do. And creating employments, as I said before, a great privilege and something that we really want to continue to do. So we make everything ourselves, and it also allows us to control the quality of the ingredients, and that's really important, both in terms of sustainability, so that we know that when we're buying something, that the people that are picking the plant and distilling it into an oil are being paid properly and fairly, and we're buying these essential oils from all over the world. So we need to have confidence that they're harvested and produced in an ethical way, and also in terms of the quality of the product, what we're actually putting in the product and people are ultimately putting in the skin is really high quality. And that is like food. You can have two loaves of bread, and one can be a sourdough made with organic flour, and one can be a loaf of supermarket bread. And the former, is going to have much more nutritional value than the latter, even though the ingredients may actually look very similar. So the same with skincare. You can have cheaper ingredients, but they're not going to help and be a benefit to your skin. Whereas really good ingredients, excellent ingredients can. So those two reasons really: creating employment, control over the supply chain, both for quality and for efficacy, are the impetus, I suppose, behind us being a manufacturing business. And it's a real point of distinction for us. how does that answer your question about the where we're at and everything else? Well, we want to showcase what we do. We want people to see it being made. We want to show the ingredients. We want to say that this is what we make.
Right.
This is why this product we think is brilliant, and you can see it. And actually, you can come and make it yourself. So we've put into this a visitor experience area where
Right.
people can come and have a workshop and create their own essential oil blend, make their own soap, make their own candle. And that's very exciting. So this will really allow us showcase what we do and share that with our customers if they've time to come and visit.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Okay, so some really good ideas, and I did notice that on the website about the thing you mentioned about the workshops, and I guess maybe as they grow over the summer, I suppose when you get more tourists and things like that coming into the area and things like that, getting people to kind of find out about you as a brand, etc. It's a great way of introducing people, isn't it, to the brand as well in a
Yeah,
really unique way. Yeah, no, it's a really great idea. So what would you say over the last it's kind of 8 years, isn't it, of ownership? What's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Oh, I mean, the number one thing that I think is mental resilience. It's very, even though I'm doing this with my wife, it's still, collectively for us both, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
Often we're making decisions in a vacuum, and we can talk to people and get advice and all that, but ultimately we buck stops with us. We're responsible. It's our business, and you've got to be really mentally very tough.
Yeah.
So the number one thing I've learned is that above all else, that mental resilience is crucial, because if you don't have that, you can't succeed.
No. And how have you built that, would you say, over the years? What's been beneficial in building that? Because I absolutely agree, in your own business, resilience is crucial, but how do you get through those tough times, I suppose, when it isn't going your way, or you've made a decision, it's not the best decision, but at the end of the day you've made a decision and you live with the consequence of that decision, right? But how have you best dealt with that if things haven't been going so well?
Well, for me personally, I've got a Christian faith, so that's always helped me. I suppose it gives me a sort of foundation, and I can pray into things. That really helps. As a sort of follower of Jesus, I pray to Him, and takes a lot off my shoulders. More prosaically, I think trying to look ahead, not look back.
Yep.
Learn. It's the old cliche. Rob, learn from mistakes, and try to look forward and not live those mistakes. Since there's a lot of that, and I call myself the chief mistake maker. We want to have a culture where people don't feel ashamed when they make a mistake, that they can own up to it and say, "Look, I've done this," and we only can have that if we're very open about our mistakes. And
Yeah.
I am. So I make loads of mistakes every day, bad decisions constantly, quick decisions I think are important. You've got to kind of move forward, but at the same time, you need to think about things. You need the evidence. You need to really. But with that caveat, I try to make decisions quickly, and sometimes you make the wrong decision, and you just got to learn from it and move forward.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
100%. Yeah, no, totally agree. It's at least making a decision, you can learn from that decision, whichever way it goes. Do you know what I mean? Making no decision, you learn nothing, and you just stand still or probably go backwards anyway. So at least if you make that decision, and moving at pace is always a good thing as well, because if it is the wrong decision or it's a slightly wrong decision, you can change it. You can make a decision in the same period of time. You've ended up at the right place by taking those decisions in a timely manner, for sure. So what about in terms of advice for a younger person, kind of things starting in business? What would be your number one bit of advice for someone in that situation based on your own experiences?
I think the number one thing would be that if you don't do it, you're going to maybe regret not doing it if you've got that itch. And it's a big but. you know, what you're giving up doing it, salary, job security, and you know, being able to sort of just switch off at 5:30 or whatever time you leave the office, you know, is a lot to give up.
Yeah.
Um, and you just need to know that you know you're going to be working 7 days a week. But if you love what you do, and that's I suppose the most important thing, if you love what you do, that doesn't feel like work. Yeah, actually, it's fun
Yeah.
and it's stressful and pressured and all of that. But actually, it's you look forward to it. We bought the business, and I had a you know well-paid job, and we kind of left that behind and to do this. But I get to see my children for breakfast. I get to go to I fit work in around us. So I can go to the sports day or the school play or the concert or you know whatever, and then work at night when they're in bed. I just squeeze it all in. You know, it's sort of like the jar of pebbles, and they say it's full, but then you pour sand into it, put water into it, and you know it's not full until you know maybe it's never full. It's the same idea with your business. You got you're at capacity. You're working really hard, but then you find a way to do the books or invoicing, say at night when no one's asleep. So, but actually, it's not a chore. You know, you get a lot of satisfaction from it. So yes, I think yeah, just being aware of the you get that flexibility, but you're going to have to work really hard and work any social hours and holidays and all sorts. But if you love what you do, if you're passionate about it, then it won't feel like work. I think the other thing I would say is never, ever, ever be let money be the primary motivator. Money is really important. Obviously, you know we've all got you know bills to pay and the table and all that. But you'll end up making bad decisions because you'll end up, I think, more likely doing something that you don't enjoy or something you don't believe in, and it'll be really tough to have your own business. So yeah, be passionate about it, make the best product you can make, you know, do everything brilliantly, and you'll enjoy it.
Fantastic. Yeah, some great advice. Some great advice. And yeah, you're the epitome of what you talk about, like loving the brand, you know, making the decision to buy into something that you clearly had a passion for yourself. You know, it makes a big difference. I'm sure that's helped when you've been going through those tougher times when you believe in the product and what it's about, and you know, you understand how good it can be. Then yeah, it's you're a testament to exactly what you say there, which is great. So when it comes to kind of inspiration, when you know we mentioned earlier about different elements that do inspire you, is there anything else or anyone else that is inspiring you or has inspired you in the past?
No, I don't think so. I think you know I get inspiration from all sorts of sources, but no, I think nothing jumps out.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, and yeah, just to finally to end, just you know, obviously to make people aware of the business. Where's the best place to you know find you on you know social, online, etc., etc. You've got some details you can
Oh
share.
yeah, yeah. Well, we've you know we've got a website purelakes.co.uk,
Perfect.
or Instagram and the social media. But yeah, that website's probably a good place to start. We sell directly to the consumer. If they want to try the product, they can go on there and buy some. And as I said, it's all handmade, plant-based, sustainable, and yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, Gareth, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to speak to you. Great to learn about yourself, the business, and the journey so far. And I wish you all the very best for the future.
Thank you,
Right.
Rob. Yeah.
Thanks then. Bye bye.
Bye bye.